Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And here we have another great article from Fierce Wireless, which I will leave in the description down below so you guys could check it out. I want to emphasize this in a big way. And I think I'm very confident when I say that this is very important for T Mobile. So, Ericsson expands indoor 5G portfolio. So, what does that mean? Why do I emphasize it? And why is it very important to T-Mobile? So recently, T-Mobile gave commentary that in the outer years, outside of the bigger investment in integrating the network, upgrading the Sprint keep sites, they claimed that they needed to fine-tune the network. And that's what they would be doing, this year, next year, the year after. And at the run rate of the 9 to 10 billion, they said that's what they would do so. And what they meant, one of their weaknesses, and they disclosed this publicly, was the indoor coverage. And this is why the Ericsson indoor 5G portfolio solutions make a lot of sense, because that's what T-Mobile is going to have to use to really fix that and fine-tune that network. Now, I'm not saying it's all bad. Yes, T-Mobile has DAS systems in some buildings. And yes, they did also retain some of the DAS systems that Sprint had deployed. But I am very confident when I say that they're nowhere near the scale of indoor solutions that AT&T and Verizon have in the market space today. Nowhere near close. And some of the high rises, for example, the taller buildings, big buildings in New York City, that took massive amounts of investment for Verizon to cover that adequately with indoor coverage, DAS systems over the years. And that's what they spent, the entire decade on fine-tuning that. Yes, T-Mobile did. Yeah, they have some of those covered with that, but not, like I said, not anywhere close to the scale. So even in a place like in New York City, they have to cover, they have to tilt up, tilt down to cover some of those big buildings. And it's very hard to do that with a macro footprint. It's just hard to do. So it's just this is going to be, I consider this to be a tedious process because it's going to take time. This is not a fix that they can do all in this year, all next year. They're just going to have to grind it out and just do that several projects year after year, right? In 2023, and this is just me throwing it out there, right? I'm just saying we're going to tackle Madison Square Garden, Empire State Building, right? That's just me throwing out examples, right? And then next year we do, this building, that building. That's how they have to go about it, because one, they're not spending an excessive amounts on capital anymore. They disclosed that recently. And it just takes time. You have to get the building permits. You got to get fiber teams ready, because remember, they lease all their fiber. You got to rent a room within the building to have all your switches and all your radios and all that stuff deployed. I mean, it's very time consuming to do this. So this is not easy to take on this next journey, although it sounds like it's the later part of the network. It's the fine tuning portion, but it's very hard to do this, and it takes a long time. Verizon knows this. They know that grind. And I'm not saying they're perfect in all indoor scenarios, especially 5G, because now Verizon has to go back to all of that stuff that they have deployed and upgrade it, right? And indoors is, we could talk about subway stations, right, underground in New York City. I consider that indoor as well. And that's where AT&T and Verizon are more advanced, more mature. But even they will have to go back, invest in upgrading all of that old infrastructure to 5G, whereas T-Mobile, they can just sweep in once with this Ericsson and, of course, Nokia as well, 5G indoor portfolio, and just start deploying that. But that's just a very, very tedious process, like I said. And it might take them this entire decade, till up until 2030 to fully get all of that fine-tuned and deployed. And by that time, at the run rate of 10 billion, T-Mobile will have invested another, 50, 60, 70 billion perhaps by the time that's completed and concluded. And of course, by that time, Verizon and AT&T will have invested, just that much more. But it's all about competitiveness, having a compelling product. And outside of the security issues, the hacks that T-Mobile has had, I do say that this is the best service and product that T-Mobile has ever presented to its customers, to the public, and to the competition. It just is. It's that simple. And yes, it still has its flaws, of course. Like, we're discussing indoor coverage being an issue, but it's the best product they've ever presented to the market. So moving forward, these indoor portfolios, these solutions, it's just going to make T-Mobile that much better and that much more of a competitive network. So let me know what you think about it in the comment section down below. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe to the channel. Follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Life, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.